the transfer portal in college athletics, specifically college football, as we're going to talk about. And it's something that I want to say right off the bat, I think is necessary and is important in our sport. I think the idea itself is crucial, and I think it's a great idea, and it's not the idea itself that I'm going to be almost arguing against. And like when we talk about this, it's the way it's been implemented. It's the regulations or lack thereof that have been implemented in the college landscape. And most importantly, it's not anything for me. Like, I haven't transferred. I'm not planning on transferring. I'm not like salty about it. It's that student athletes are getting the short end of the stick when it comes to the transfer portal. And then that's what's really concerning for me. So it seems like right now it's getting out of hand. I wanted to just address like potential good, bad, or indifferent. So we can start with some of the good, and you guys feel free to add anything you want to it. Something that I just thought of. One is it allows coaches to fill spots in their team quickly, right? Especially when you have a new head coach like our situation right here at Northern. Like, you're not going to get enough high school guys to come in and just start right off the bat in the fall. Like, our roster numbers are so low, you have to supplement with transfers. That's one thing that came to me right off the bat. Another one, kids with new coaching staffs, finding new opportunities, right? You didn't commit to the coaching staff that came in. Now, a lot of guys will stick it out, but by no means should you be expected to stick around for a staff that wasn't the one you committed to. Mm-hmm. And finally, there are always those other weird, different situations that kids, it just requires them or really inhibits them to leave schools and move to other areas. There's always going to be those oddballs. And so if you don't have some type of transfer portal policy in effect for those odd situations, it feels like the kids are just getting screwed. I remember specifically thinking when they had the old rules in place and there was a kid who was playing big-time D1 ball, wanted to transfer back home because he just found out his grandmother was like extremely sick. And based on these rules, like there was no way he could transfer and still be eligible in the NCAA. And there are all kinds of interesting circumstances like that where you're looking at it and you're like, that's just boneheaded. Like, that's just dumb.
Yeah.
But on the point of good things the transfer portal provides, what do you guys have?
I feel like
before we get to the bad.
Me personally, the transfer portal for me, it didn't really make a difference for me because I was a grad transfer.
That's a whole nother side of it too that, we'll touch on.
I feel like the grad transfer side is good for grad transfers.
Agreed.
Because when you in a just a database for coaches to just look at, you know what I'm saying? To find kids, you know what I'm saying? And they got all your stats, everything, blah, 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 what you did. I feel like it's good for them, you know what I'm saying? I feel like it's good for players to be able to have the flexibility to, if you wanted to, just up and leave. Because coaches do it every year.
Yep.
At every school.
It's a good point.
They your coach one day, the next day they had a whole nother. Brian Kelly got hired at LSU before he started a bowl game to coach at Notre Dame.
That was insane.
You know what I'm saying?
That was really wild. I remember that whole fiasco, how that went down. My family.
You know what I'm saying? Like, stuff like that. Like, I feel like, so for the players to have that kind of power, I feel like you say, it's necessary because of the landscape in which college football is going. It's hard, you know what I'm saying, with, like, just be quite frank, like, I don't know, I feel like we just don't have the same, like, mental makeup as people from 20, 30 years ago.
Absolutely not.
For them to just be like, you know what, I'm going to just stick it out. No, I don't want to do this no more. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to explore my opportunities. And I feel like that's not like a slight towards our generation. That's just evolution. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way people think now. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like you say, it's necessary for our game. I feel like it do need to be regulations because I touch on why I feel like it got to be regulations when we get to the bad.
Okay.
But I feel like you say, it is necessary. And it is
the concept and idea itself I think is a must.
Yeah. And it's good. It's just finding a way to make it more fluid and
how it benefits athletes. Because when you see some of these numbers that we're going to bring up here in a little bit, you're going to sit there and I think there will be some collective jaws like on the floor if people like listening to it, because I don't think people really realize what's going on and how many student athletes are just being absolutely, I don't want to use like profanity, but they're getting screwed. Like, they're absolutely getting screwed. So let's get to some of the bad, right? So, and again, these are just some points that kind of, as I was just thinking about this, popped to the top of my head. Number one is less emphasis on high school recruiting.
Yes.
That's
they
tough.
take the biggest blow.
Less scholarships available for these kids. There's just a less emphasis on that because really, when it comes down to it, and like Chenzo touched on it, which I'm glad he said, like, they have to be competitive. Like, these are full-time. This is their job. Their job is on the line. You can't bring in this class of high schoolers and then I hope they develop. If on the other side of the fence, there's a 4-year starter that is proven that was potentially all conference in another league, and you can bring him in and plug and play, and he could be an all conference guy for you.
And that's why, like, you won't see a whole lot of, like, taking chances on high school players no more.
Yeah.
Like, you see, like those fringe Division I. If he a fringe Division I guy, he's going to be strictly Division II now. The
That's a great
fringe
point, yeah.
Division II guys, you're going to be Division III NAIA, because what am I going to take a chance on you for when I could just, like you say, pull somebody who from another school has played, you feel me, more downs than anybody else in my room.
Until you prove yourself at whatever level, like there legitimately may not be chances for you, which is a scary, like a really scary prospect.
Like the only the upper echelon of the high school recruits are the ones that won't take a blow. But like when you talking about the kids who like those, like you say, like fringe scholarship NCAA football players, it's ugly for them because okay, this is my last chance. Like we saw with our last staff. This is our last chance. We bringing in transfers.
Yep.
We didn't bring in a lot of freshmen last year.
No.
But we had, you feel me, over the past couple of years, quite a bit of transfers. Because, like you say, I can't, these coaches at this point, with how like fickle it is and everybody want to win, it's no longer we're gonna give you to the end of your contract.
Yeah.
2 bad years, you out the door. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it's both sides, right? It's not just the kids that have this like lack of stability or lack of security, I think is a really good word. And that was something too that I had on here, is that it feels like commitment to coaches, to programs, and more importantly, I think the teammates is at an all-time low. And I do like the thing that you brought up earlier, though, like the mindset has shifted so much, and I think rightfully so, from like a 20 or 30 years ago. Like my grandpa or even my dad, might say like, times get tough, like you got to get tougher. Right. Mm-hmm. And there are certainly circumstances in life where that's going to apply, because there are some things you can't just transfer out of or just leave and walk around.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
But on the other side of that, there are certainly great examples of like, there is no reason to subject yourself to a coaching staff, a new coaching staff that doesn't, you don't operate well with, or if there's a situation that arises that is not suitable for you. Like, and that's the hard part, is because there's so much gray area, right? But I really do feel that commitment to coaches, programs, and like I said, most importantly, teammates, is at an all-time low. And don't think because I'm looking at you that I'm not targeting, you know what I mean?
No, I don't care if you was somebody.
No, obviously not. I'm not calling out anybody. Literally anybody.
You speaking on what it is, because you say, I could wake up, I swear on everything, like, you could wake up tomorrow, Kobe, and be like, I'm transferring.
Dude.
And can't nobody do nothing about it.
It's like, it's so feeble and like, I don't even know what the word is, but literally that's all it is. And that's what's really concerning for me, is because and we're seeing it here too.
You got a lot of people acting on impulse.
Yes.
Not like sitting, like my decision to transfer, it was like
this is something you had thought, yes.
Long. Like, once the season over with, okay, I got to start thinking about my future. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
This is something where, like, I got to see if this is what's best for me. Mm-hmm. To the point where, like, I'm still trying to work out and be on the team still, but I want to, like, see what opportunities out there for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And Coach Rich, you either in or you out. You know what I'm saying?
So I'm saying, you understand. I get both sides, because that's how you want your players, but you have to understand both, and I totally do.
Like, and I don't feel no type of resentment, because you feel me. He got to stand on what he believe in.
Yeah.
So he like, you in or you out. I'm like, all right, well, I'm out. I got to see what's out there for me. You know what I'm saying? That was something that I had thought about for months. Me and Rich have been going back for about a month. You know what I'm saying? About trying to figure a way to work through it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got some people who literally wake up and like, yeah, I'm gone.
And it's hard because, too, like, you talk about the people who are making these decisions, right? In some cases, these guys are 18 years old. 18 to 22. Now you got COVID. So you got some weird grown men.
25, 26.
So those guys, like, obviously you're much more emotionally and just overall mature. But when you talk about the younger guys in the spectrum, the 18, 19, 20-year-old guys that are making decisions like this off impulses and making emotional decisions, if something goes wrong, like that, to me right now, I don't like. It feels like a fail-safe.
Yeah.
Like, if something goes wrong, it's okay, because I have this.
It's almost people out there, I can guarantee that if going to a school, I'm transferring. Go to another school. I'm transferring. Go to another school. I'm transferring.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It happens.
And it's really
hard.
because it's crazy because it's bad when it's underclassmen.
Yeah.
Freshman and sophomore, you a true freshman. I ain't played this year, I'm gone.
With the same staff that they came in with, you know what I mean? And obviously, the recruiting process, you know, they're supposed to talk you up, right? They might, you know, you hope you don't get to campus and they switch up on you.
Coach
100%.
Shinzo told me, he say like the worst part about recruiting is sometimes you got a lot of kids.
Yeah.
And you got to tell them what they want to hear to get them to your school. You know what I'm saying?
And that happens, yeah.
And you feel me? That's with anything though. And that's the ugly part about the transfer portal because you will get lost.
Yeah.
Because you feel me? First team All-GLIAC. You know what I'm saying? Led the league in rushing. I was a All-American honorable mention. It was some days, it was no coaches on my line. I'm thinking, you feel me? All right, when I get in, it's going to be.
My phone might not stop buzzing for 2 months.
I had 100 coaches follow me the first 2 days, and then it was a point for like a week. It was no coaches hitting me, no new coaches. You feel me? Then, okay, one day it's 30 coaches. The next day is nothing. For me, you know what I'm saying? Not saying I'm Jesus, but like, I feel like I'm you feel me? I'm a good football player who can help our programs.
A proven, right?
You know
a proven football player.
You feel
yeah.
me? Like I've shown that I can do it over years. You know what I'm saying? And it was days where it was nobody on my line.
Yeah. The last thing I want to touch on too, and this is something I think also goes very unnoticed, is that the acts of tampering that happen that go seriously unchecked, because it feels like with some of these decisions, when a student athlete, again, we're speaking on football. This can totally apply to other sports, but we know football, so we're going to talk about football. When a football player enters the portal and they have a school within a day or two,
yeah,
there have to be some question marks.
I've been doing that.
That's what I'm saying. There have to be some question marks around the decisions. There are people that have been caught doing that. There are people that, you know, are allegedly doing certain things that a lot of them have not been proven. But I have to imagine, like, that is so tough. Like, how can you expect the NCAA to monitor and really enforce policies like that?
But to me, the NCAA, you got to see that though.
Yeah.
If I enter the portal and I found a school in a week, can't no school make me come in the week.
Isn't that crazy?
Unless I'm an absolute dumbass. And a nincompoop.
Like, sometimes even without a visit? Like you ain't even want to go check it out?
I was in the portal for 4 months.
Oh, my God.
Before I finally, you feel me, decided on where I was going. How you get in the portal and 3 days later you committed?
Yes, bro.
I don't care about no dream school, none of that. Unless you an absolute, like, dumbass, there's no way that you was like, this is for me after 3 days. Because it's no way you went out there, took a visit, talked to everybody you need to talk to. You don't even know what they offered, the school offer, as far as academically.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You don't know what the surrounding area look like. Oh, yeah, we gone. What? Come on, bro.
So now I think we can segue and move over into more of the data, the numbers, because we have a lot of opinions, and I appreciate our opinions, but, you know, some people might not. So you say, hey, Kobe, how about you stop spewing bullshit and show me the real numbers, show me what's actually going on. And to those people, the few and the proud, we will bring you like the Marines.
I was going to say, all right, John Cena.
We will bring this up right here. This, as you can see, is data from the NCAA website, right? It's a credible source. And the data we're looking at, there's two different sets of data here. You have from August 1st, 2020 to July 1st, 2021. And then you have August 1st, 2021 to July 31st of 2022. So you have the two different spans. This first segment here says how many Division I transfer portal entrants transferred to another NCAA school. Now this data, it's important to know, is that it is only for Division I players. That's FBS and FCS. We'll talk about a Division II stat a little bit later, but we'll get this out of the way up front. Now, this says, for background, when a student athlete in the transfer portal transfers to a new NCAA school and joins an athletics team, the status field in their record is updated by compliance staff, blah, 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 blah. That's the NCAA saying, we know when kids land. Like, we know. Right here, in 2021, you had 6,876 undergrad students transfer and 3,253 graduate transfer. That number goes up by, looks like, almost 2,000 in 2022. So you have a combined total of just about 12,000 between undergrad and graduate transfers, which is just a pretty appalling number already. Now you go down here and you start to just see more of these numbers. What is the divisional destination of successful Division I transfer portal entrants? 78% are landing at other. These are of the kids that successfully landed. 78% are at Division I, 20% at D2, and only 2% go all the way down to Division III. Some of those other situations, right? Now, here are some more really good stats that I like. When are Division I student athletes entering the transfer portal? And I think these are kind of predictable, right? You see here, they're most likely to enter the transfer portal at the conclusion of their team's season. You see that big spike in November or December.
Yeah.
And then, or at the end of their academic year. So then you get into April and May when these years are wrapped. And that makes sense, right? You stick it out through the year and then you move on. Right here. This is, I got to make this. There we go. Sweet. I had to make this bigger because I could not read that from my little screen over here. Look at this number. This is pretty bad. So out of all those athletes that we just mentioned, from this data, 57% of student athletes reported to have enrolled in a new NCAA member school. That is alarming. Like, that is extremely alarming.
Like, that's saying, like, they transfer to a school and then transfer to another school?
No. So that is saying out of that total number that we saw that entered the transfer portal.
Only 57% signed somewhere.
And the remaining 43 didn't.
So, and now, again, the data, if we go, I lost my scroll. Here we are. If we go back here, 57% of that, and we have to remember, too, in this data set, it stops at July 31st, 2022. So you have to imagine more kids were still figuring things out as you go into the fall. But July 31st, like, you're starting camp the first week of August.
Division II, Division I start camp.
You're right. So, like,
the beginning of June.
Exactly. So, like, you're already going. So you can't imagine, this is Division I athletes only in this potential data set. So you can't imagine that many more people are signing on, right? There will be some, but there will not be.
Yeah, for sure.
Enough to warrant this amount. 43% active entrants may still be exploring transfer options, may have transferred to a non-NCAA school, or may have left their sport. And this is when I get into, like, I don't think people understand where I'm coming from with this. Student athletes are being screwed because they're being promised things on the other side. The grass is greener on the other side. And then they get into the transfer portal, and all of a sudden, these guys are Division I athletes, a high percentage of which are on full academic or athletic scholarship, and now all of a sudden you're looking at potentially not even playing your sport anymore.
Someone working a 9 to 5.
It's real life. It's because so much go into the transfer portal. It's not just ball. You feel me? You have to have, like, a social media presence to get your, you feel me?
Get your film out, to get your connections at different places.
You feel me?
Yeah.
You have to, and what mess up a lot of kids, they see somebody else do something. Oh, he got it. I know I could get that. Everybody's situation different.
You look, I'll use an example right now, and I said I wasn't going to use names. I'm going to use names. Connor Neer from Ferris State was an All-American linebacker, back-to-back national champion at the D2 level. Just committed to Oklahoma, right? Mm-hmm. He's picking up all these offers, these Power 5 offers. Yeah. And then I can't say it was the exact reason, but guess what? After he received some of these offers, the next day, Grand Valley has 3 starters enter the transfer portal within an hour of each other. We're talking about all conference caliber players. One of them just went to Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
And you have to imagine in their minds, and rightfully so, this dude's getting X, Y, and Z. What the hell is stopping me from going and doing the same thing? Now,
and is monkey, yeah. The transfer portal is monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah.
And
it's killing programs.
Okay, he got that. Man, I'm going to go get this. You know what I'm saying?
It's free agency because we talk about Lamar's contract.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Kyler got paid this much and, Mahomes is getting this much. Then I need this much.
He got that offer. I could go get that offer.
It's like,
and I go get an offer bigger than that.
It's right there, dude. It's so crazy to me.
And it's the thing is, okay, like you say, Connor Neer, you feel me? He has proven himself.
Yep. All-American.
The corner from
We're getting
GV,
him on the pod, by the way.
Proven himself.
Yeah.
The receiver, Walker.
Blanking on his name, but yeah.
I think his name Forquin.
It is Forquin.
The receiver, Walker, you feel me? He is going crazy. At the start of the season, he ended up getting hurt and he slowed down towards the end. But, like, his, like, tape and stuff like that, like, he a freak.
Yep.
You feel me? Tell me, he had a decent season. He proved himself. Them is proven, you feel me, players coming from a good program. It be the chumps from bum schools who thinking, you feel me? The transfer portal, well, it ain't nothing but the coaches looking. How you think you finna transfer from a D3 and go D1 and you ain't have 400 yards in a year?
Some people believe it.
And that's where becomes it's no way that you can regulate that, because now you hindering some kids. You can't say, if you ain't make all conference, you can't transfer.
You can't do that. But the concerning thing about this data set that we're looking at, this is all D1 kids only.
Yeah.
That 43% is only Division I kids.
They be the ones that be the most like cooked in the head.
So we'll keep moving down here. There's one more, but then I got a stat on Division II specifically. And this one too. This is about, it says, how do outcomes for Division I transfer portal entrants vary by athletic aid status? So, right here, aided at departing school. So these are kids who had scholarships when they left their school. Only 54% transfer and receive athletic aid at the school they're going to. Flip a coin. That's determining whether or not, because when you talk about scholarships at the Division I level, that is full ride. You're not splitting scholarships.
Yeah.
So you're going from a full ride, flip a coin. You're going to, obviously it's not flip a coin. Some guys know they're going to land, right? But for the sake of the matter, flip a coin. That is determining whether or not you will be on scholarship. And then you think about the athletic scholarship is a big reason why a lot of these guys are even in school. So now you take that off the table, only 10% are transferring without athletic aid. Going to another place for the love of the game, people like to say.
Yeah.
No, that's not what's happening. 36% remain active in the transfer portal, still just trying to figure it out. And then you look at the stat over here, unaided at departing school. So people who are leaving without scholarships, 20% do find scholarships. So there's the benefit in the transfer portal right there. 60% remain in the transfer portal, and 20% are transferring without athletic aid. Number is still very small. These numbers are large, these purples. And that is what is extremely concerning to me, and it should be concerning to a lot of people. The Division II stat I have here from the same database. It says in Division II, 10,324 student athletes requested to enter into the transfer portal, and a combined total of 3,033 successfully transferred to another NCAA program.
Division II?
Division II.
Damn.
I'll say it one more time. For those listening, 10,324 student athletes requested to enter into the transfer portal, and a combined total of 3,033 successfully transferred to another NCAA program. I'm not a math guy, but that's more than 7,000 guys. Or not guys, I shouldn't say that. This is student athletes. 7,000 people that are not, let alone aid, throw athletic aid out the question.
Just going to another school, period. And that's why I say
those numbers are scary.
It's ugly because you can't.
But you can.
You can't. There's no way that you can regulate it.
I think
how can you tell some? All right.
So this is my pitch right here. I think you take away from the start of that decision and you make it maybe more difficult. Is not the right word, but you don't allow these kids to make impulsive decisions as far as the transfer portal is concerned. Maybe it could be something as simple as, okay, you want to enter the transfer portal? It will go into effect in a week and a half. Instead of like, boom, I've entered my name in the transfer portal, I'm gone. Like, let a kid like sleep on this decision. You know what I mean? I think that would mitigate not nearly all of it. But I think in a lot of cases, a kid goes and sleeps on it, talks to some people, you know what I mean? Like just kind of figures out what's really going on in his or her head. And I think that might mitigate some of those impulse and emotional decisions that we talked about. And there are so many other ways you could do that, but that was just one thing that came to mind for me.
Not necessarily, because it takes you a couple days to officially be in the transfer portal anyways.
It does, but extend it.
I mean, but at the same time, that's messing it up for the kids who, that'll mess it up for somebody like me. You feel me? As far as like, I didn't enter the portal until the end of December. Say I was one of them goofy kids who was trying to be at a school in a week. Enroll at a school in a week and be there for spring ball. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I entered the portal, I think it was like the 27th of December. I was officially in like the 29th or the 30th. Say I was trying to be at a school in the middle of January, and it take me like a week and a half to get in. You know what I'm saying? For somebody who know what they want, because the kids who enter the transfer portal in December, in the end of November, they know that they trying to go somewhere mid-year. If you take a week and a half of recruiting away from them, that's detrimental to them. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's why I personally say is no way that you can like regulate the transfer, because all right, at that point now I gotta try to get in the transfer portal a week and a half earlier. We probably still got a bowl game to play, or we still got a game to play.
I hear you.
And I say it's ugly because the transfer portal work for some people and it don't work for others.
A lot.
And it don't work a lot more, to be honest, than it worked. Yeah. And it's hard to like find a common like middle ground. Like I say, because I was thinking like, all right, you have to have like a sufficient reason to want to transfer.
Yeah, but then
at that point, how you gonna tell me
that your reason is not important?
My reason is not enough to want to leave. You know what I'm saying?
It's so hard. Like, who makes that decision? You can't do that. And so here is, I posted on Twitter. I said, basically like, let me hear your thoughts on the transfer portal, because frankly, just the whole ordeal is starting to just piss me off. And I got a good comment from we had Bryce Spears on the podcast a while back. His older brother actually is a West Point alum, and he says here, and I can actually just throw it up on the screen, maybe for y'all to see. There we are. This was, here's my original tweet here. I said, I'm all for kids getting new opportunities, but the transfer portal is becoming a slippery slope. Not enough playing time, transfer. Disagree with the coach, transfer. New staff comes in, transfer. Like I said, it feels like a failsafe. Commitment seems to be at an all-time low, but let me hear your thoughts. A lot of people reply, but this from him right here, he says, and these couple like proposed rules he had just thought of. One transfer if same division, like a D1 to a D1. Head coach leaves, rule number 1 waived for that year. So you don't have to honor like a new staff coming in. Limit number of transfers a school can take. And not that I say like, yes, let's implement this immediately, but I like the direction of this because it just shows more structure and it gives a much clearer outline as to what is and what is not acceptable. For example, the head coach leaves. I think that rule waived. I think that's a great rule, because we know that when a head coach leaves, I mean, I'm a testament to that right now. We don't have a single coach on our staff right now that was on the staff in the fall, right? So that could be really tough for a player if you have to deal with a bunch of guys who didn't, not to say they don't want you, but they didn't bring you on campus.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I love that. The one transfer if same division, because, I mean, let's face it. We have guys that are going to their 5th school to play football. Yeah. That's absurd. That is genuinely absurd. There's no reason that should happen.
For sure.
Absolutely not. And then I think talk about the number of transfers the school can take. That's touching more on the high school side of things, right? Making sure that you don't just fill up your roster with transfers, that you do have to encourage some of that high school talent. But go ahead, Ty.
I think that's a big one. As far as, I feel like the biggest thing that I think that you could be able to do is limit the amount of time somebody could transfer. And like from NCAA institution to NCAA institution.
Exactly, yeah.
You limit the amount of time somebody can transfer. You get somebody 2 transfers.
Because that's all they can regulate is within NCAA, obviously.
You feel me? You get 2 transfers. Because like it's a slippery slope with somebody like Josh, he'd have been to like 2 JUCOs. You feel me? So this is gonna be like his 4th school. You know what I'm saying? That's a slippery slope when JUCO is like way more fickle than the transfer portal ever will be. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, but it's people who have real life. The transfer portal came out during
COVID.
Right before the COVID season.
I think it was, right? Yeah, I want to say it was.
Because we got Isaiah Morrison during the COVID season.
Yeah.
And he was one of the first people in the transfer portal. So what has that been? 3 years? It's people who transfer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
just can't stick anywhere.
What's his name? He used to, you know what I'm talking about, the old Georgia quarterback. JT Daniels.
Oh, okay. Yep.
USC, Georgia. He went from Georgia and went to another school and then left there and went to Rice. And I think he went from USC to Georgia,
just bounced
to West Virginia to Rice. You feel me?
Like
all
how?
within like year. Like it's no good. It's no good for nobody, especially for him. You know what I'm saying? To just constantly be leaving. Oh, I don't like it, I'm gone. I ain't like this, I'm gone. Like, that don't do nobody no good. You feel me? So I feel like NCAA transfers, you get two. And if you don't like where you at no more, you either gotta go play NAIA.
Because yeah, right?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that would encourage them to like, okay, I really do. There's not going to be any of those 3-day commitments now. Like, I need to really make sure this is a place where I want to be.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I think that would encourage that. So I loved that from him. Like I said, totally could work on like changing whatever, but the ideas there, I absolutely love. I think they're great. And I'll leave you guys with this quote before we go to our conversation with Jimmy. This is from Dabo Sweeney. He told ESPN's Chris Lowe that the transfer portal is, quote, not what it's supposed to be, is what he says. He says here, it's an absolute mess and a train wreck, and the kids are going to be the ones who suffer in the end. There are going to be a lot of kids that end up with no degrees and make decisions based on the wrong things. There are going to be a lot of decisions based on short-term stuff, and they're going to sacrifice the long-term value of education, relationships, and connectivity. I think that's really good. And it's powerful stuff that sums it up. And, man, the last thing I promise, the last thing I have for us on the topic, on a little more of like just a crazy note. Look at this. These are the schools, Power 5 schools, that have lost the most amount of kids to the transfer portal in 2022-2023. Colorado obviously leading that list. 56. Ole Miss has 33. A&M and Oregon have 31. Arizona State 30. Arkansas 29. Florida 26. Then it starts to get down and down. And I mean, these numbers are absurd.
And that's why it's ugly. You got 56 people. That's more than half the football team.
A Power 5 football team. And obviously that situation is one that like will not be replicated anywhere else. Like, it's such a unique situation.
Because he's telling you leave because I'm bringing in my own, you know what I'm saying, my own.
Even still, there are so many other schools.
Like Ole Miss, 33 people. That's a third of a football team just leaving.
Yep.
And to be honest, you got to try to replace them with with incoming freshmen and transfers,
because or else you're not going to be competitive and you're out of a job.
Because you're not going to bring in 33 freshmen who ready to play. You're going to probably have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 if you're lucky. You know what I'm saying? You got to replace them 33 transfers with an additional 25 transfers.
And it's just
and it's a revolving door because Ole Miss, I promise you on everything, it's like what's the head coach name? Lane Kiffin.
Yep.
Everybody love Lane Kiffin.
Well,
yeah, I ain't really liking it. I'm finna transfer. For what? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm really just trying to go play for Bama. I'm gonna just transfer. You know what I'm saying? And like stuff like that. That's why it's ugly, because you got some people who really like transferring because like, yeah, I'd rather just be somewhere else. Everybody will rather be somewhere else. That don't mean up and leave, and you feel me?
Yeah. That's the commitment piece that I was touching on.
I'd rather, you know what I'm saying? I don't really want to play for Miami. I'm trying to go play for the Gators.
And now the transfer portal is officially closed for the next however many months now, I believe, right? The deadline passed.
Yeah. I mean, and as soon as it open up, it's going to be an influx right back in.
December and April were the 2 open windows, but now rosters are getting just about locked up.
Yeah, if you're not already in the portal, it's over with. Yep. There's no getting in the portal.
Exactly.